Welcome back to another episode of TV Talk. This week we are discussing WandaVision Episode 8. Full spoilers ahead, so if you haven't watched the episode, go watch it and then come back and hang out with us. Hear our discussion. So this was a kind of a standalone episode. This was our turning point episode where we figure out how this is really connected to the MCU, and what did you guys think about that?
This was the exposition dump.
Very much so.
Just
Yeah,
25 minutes of here's everything you need to know for next week's finale.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really overall, I'm pretty mixed on this episode because I like the stuff they told me. And I thought there was a lot of really cool stuff in there. But at the same time, when I was just going through it, I was just like, oh, they're just telling me what I need to know. So it was kind of frustrating to watch.
yeah, I would agree with you, Luke. I'm pretty that's pretty on this episode overall. I do think the performances are really good.
Yeah.
And worth noting. I think, everybody did a great job in this episode. However, I hate when we just rehash old things. And this episode kind of felt like a rehash. Like we already knew, it's mostly just a perspective shift. Like, okay, now you're going to get it from her perspective. Also, the end of the episode just kind of was really dumb to me.
Which
it's like, you're
the
the
end
Scarlet Witch. And I was like, cool. So I knew that, 6 years ago. But thank you for confirming what we all already knew. It just, the rehash trend, Luke kind of said it in the group chat last night, it's more of the same for the MCU, right? Like this show has been so bold. They've pushed so many boundaries for themselves as creators, and now they're doing what they know. We got the cookie cutting sheet back out. Yep. We got our cookie cutting sheet back out, and we're going to do it again. So I don't know. It's kind of frustrating.
I would even like less of a rehash, and I feel like it's more of a retcon kind of now that they have access to full Scarlet Witch lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because before it was so tricky with the different studios having X-Men and all the Marvel stuff, but Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were in both. So you couldn't really do the full thing. So I am glad that they can fully lean into or like probability changing and chaos magic background instead of just I have telekinesis, cool.
That was something I didn't understand. I mean, I understood to a certain degree, but I'm not clear where the show is landing on it. So are we saying that she was a witch or she had magic powers before? Maybe that's okay. Before she touched the Infinity Stone, and then the Infinity Stone.
From my understanding, she had that like ability to use the probability changing. So the probability that the bomb wouldn't explode went in her favor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then when she eventually interacted with the Mind Stone, which by the way was my favorite part of the entire episode.
Yeah, it was super
you see
cool.
Like her I think it's her future self.
Yeah.
Talking to her. Kind of just amplified her powers and turned her into how powerful she is now.
Yeah, just made her realize who she could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff was really cool. And when she did the whole like probability thing, all I could think about was Domino from Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now she's just really lucky, And like using luck as a superpower is always weird, but it's when it works, it works. And
luck is not a superpower.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think this episode is just heavily anchored by performance. Because, if Catherine Hahn and Elizabeth Olsen if they turn in half the performance they did, this episode I think is completely flat. And there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of people, if you're not hyped about it, that are going to be like, oh, so no big reveal. It's like, I don't need a big reveal. I just need, like, this is a penultimate episode. Like, that's something that, in my opinion, shouldn't be discounted. Penultimate episodes are usually insane. Like, this is where we build up to that final conflict. And in this, like Luke said, it's an exposition dump. It doesn't feel like we're building up to a final conflict. It feels like we're building up to a final conversation.
Yeah.
And to me, that's kind of, I don't know, it concerns me. There's a lot of things and I know they won't answer all the questions, but there's a lot of things they got to kind of tie off before they go into Doctor Strange.
Yep. What did you guys think of, you mentioned Catherine Hahn. The intro to this was her backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I personally not sure I needed it, more because it made her seem like even more of a sympathetic character than I think I want her to be, and that may pay off in the next episode, but
I didn't need it because I just thought it was bad.
yeah.
Is she like feeding off the life force of everyone else? Is that what we're doing here?
Or what it seems like. Yeah.
To me, it was just generic magic. Purple light. Like, oh no. What are we actually doing?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, that's the question I have is, by the end of this episode, I feel like Agatha is just trying to figure out what Scarlet Witch is doing.
Yeah, there's not real
I
conflict
don't feel
there.
like she's a villain. Like, she's not right. There is no conflict. At first I thought, when they showed that intro, I was like, oh, okay. She has to she's either one, trying to eradicate witches except for herself, or two, she has to take the life force from other magic users, and that's why she's after Scarlet Witch. But by the end of it, she's just like, hey, I just kind of want you to answer my question. And then I'll leave you alone. I mean, otherwise, carry on. Enjoy Westview. It's just really, I don't know. It's really weird, and it gives me like these weird. I'm just so confused about where this thing ends.
The whole line that she has about, because at first I'm kind of thinking, I kind of felt the same way that you did, Tyler, where it's like she knows that Scarlet Witch has some magic abilities, and she's confused about how she's so powerful. So we're doing the exposition dump for her so that she can, and I at that time my thought was the end goal was probably to learn how to acquire that power herself. And then the line at the end, though, about it being chaos magic made it feel like now she's some sort of, witch police, and because Scarlet Witch is now super powerful, she has to be destroyed, which is ironic because that's what she had
did.
to, like, and again, so yeah. I like, is she a good, a good guy, a bad guy? I don't know, and that's why I think it's fairly unsatisfying as a conclusion to the episode, because I don't know where she really stands.
Yeah, and like, I would be okay with that if this was like a mid-season finale. Like, I would be like, oh, we have the back half of this season to kind of learn a little bit more about where she stands on this thing. But no, we have 40 minutes to find out where she stands and resolve the conflict. And to me, that just, I feel like we're going to end up getting a really rushed finale that's not really going to do it for us. And I say us, meaning me. I'm speaking in third person. I don't mean everybody.
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like we presented a lot of questions and we're not really working towards any answers. And maybe, I guess that's what Doctor Strange is for. But again, this kind of leans all the way back to one of my cons about Endgame. It's going to be here too, is now you have to have watched, all these other things to understand moving forward where these characters are. And it kind of makes it not very accessible. I mean, especially for people who are new to all this. Disney Plus has opened a new avenue for a lot of people. Like, I have friends that are like, should I watch it? And I'm like, well, have you watched anything else? And they're like, well, not really. And I'm like, I mean, you can,
but you'll have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, you're going to be confused about who people are and, why these relationships matter. And I don't know, it just kind of feels like we're doing more of the same.
So someone we didn't see at all, Maria Rambeau, aka Photon.
Gotta wrap that up too.
Jimmy Woo. None of those characters made an appearance this week. I think that's fine, but we did kind of we left on the last episode on a cliffhanger with them. Yep. And we didn't get any like I would have rather had that cliffhanger this week going into next week. But what did you guys think about, not that specifically, but maybe some of the stuff with Hayward? There's the end credit scene. Just think of those.
Really looking forward to White Vision. That's really cool that they're doing that. I'm very excited to watch Vision fight Vision. But also I feel like this might lift up my Ultron theory from a couple of weeks back just a little bit.
Yeah,
it could still happen. Ultron could be in there, and I know there's another theory going around that Hayward is actually Ultron. Ultron has had fake human bodies before. I don't think that's the case though. I just think he's a really bad leader.
The flashback with him was interesting. Kind of an idiot. What did you guys take away from that flashback? Was he egging Wanda on? Did he want her to try and steal it, or bring him back to life because they were failing?
I don't think so. I'm really confused about why he's lying.
Yeah.
Why did he say that she stole him?
Yeah.
Because my guess is because him and Monica's mom were probably friends, but disagreed on a level of how to handle things like this. And her passing allowed him to have the power to do what he wanted. And now that Maria's back, he doesn't really know how to deal with that, so he's just lying about it. That's the only thing I could think of. Like,
the male ego strikes again. No.
Yeah, it just seems like to have him as there's just not that relationship there, antagonist to protagonist, really, between him and Maria at this point, because they've been separate so long. So it was just interesting to me that, like, I didn't understand that character motivation of, almost like making Wanda suffer to see Vision, and then I don't know. Again, what was he trying to get her to do? I don't know.
Yeah, that's, I think overall the takeaway from this episode is motivations are not clear for multiple characters. And I hope, like, they just again, they have to wrap up that story and Wanda's story in the next episode. There's just a lot. There's a lot there.
Maybe it's a really long episode.
Maybe it's fingers crossed, hour-long episode.
I hope so. I really do. I'm ready to see Doctor Strange show up. Ready to see Magneto show up. All these things?
So, a lot of people think that Paul Bettany is just talking about the cameo that somebody he's always wanted to work with is himself.
I thought that was a hilarious thing going around. Yeah.
Yeah. He gets to fight himself. So Luke, sorry, Brett.
Oh, go ahead.
Luke, you kind of mentioned White Vision. I don't really know a whole lot about that character. Can you kind of explain him a little bit?
I'm not the Marvel wiki page. I don't know a whole lot either. As far as I know, though, he is a man-made Vision.
Okay.
I think the original Vision had kind of the mind replication of Wonder Man, and this one doesn't. Because it's not the Mind Stone in the comics.
Yeah.
And this one is more of a trying to replicate that.
Okay.
That's all I know, and that might not be right. If anybody knows more, post in the comments so you can all educate us.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
No, I just kept calling him Zombie Vision. I didn't know what else to call him. His eyes look cool though.
I loved the look of
Yeah,
this
Yeah.
solid white. I thought it looked super sleek, and that versus the whatever the heck color normal Vision is, pink, purple, red,
that weird assortment
fuchsia.
of like apple colors.
Yeah, I think it's gonna look really cool.
Um,
Punching each other in the face.
real quick,
Yeah.
2 other things. Speaking about Vision, we did learn in this episode that Vision was completely created from scratch, which I thought was interesting. Do we think that does that make him any more or less real? Do we think the boys, the twins, are also that way? What's our kind of hypothesis on that? I'm curious your guys' thoughts.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
think it makes. I think he might be real, and I think they're gonna resurrect Vision at the end of this. I think he's coming back somehow. I don't really know
Is
how.
she gonna download that sentient one she's created into the old body or something?
That was Stephanie's prediction. She was like, "What if she can like fuse the two together?"
Right.
So,
Because
like,
they have the body.
maybe
I mean, her
together.
power is literally breaking the laws of physics.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
we do know that her version of Vision can't exist outside the hex. So, maybe
she
that
downloads him into the one that can.
yeah, then all of a sudden he's, more or less alive, still not with complete memories, but
He's back like he never left.
alive without the mind
As far as the kids go, though, I still think the kids are fake. I think that's Agatha.
Agatha doing Agatha things.
It was just so convenient when they were down in the basement and she couldn't use her powers, and she's like, "Oh, but what about your kids?" And of course they scream at that moment. I was like, clever."
Oh. We've seen enough shows and movies to know what's going on there.
Yeah. Sure.
Plus, I think she'll get Vision back, but she'll lose the children, and that will be the hero's trauma moving forward.
Yeah. I can see that as well.
If only I felt like the relationship with the kids was that important.
That's the other thing. It really is not.
I could read Brett's mind there.
It's like, do we really care about the kids? No, not really.
One of them's from Haunting of Hill House. I kind of care about him.
I've seen them in other things, so. Any predictions for next week? We've talked a little bit about maybe, the kids, losing the kids, getting Vision back. How does Doctor Strange work into all of this?
Magneto!
Well, Magneto appearance?
He's going to rip Vision to pieces.
Ooh.
The Scarlet Witch is not going to be able to do it. I'm having my Ray as a clone theory.
I love it. No, I love that.
Magneto's going to show up
Vision's
and rip
a clone.
Vision to pieces. Yeah, well, he is. That's my point. That is a very accurate statement. No, that's my crazy spaghetti at the wall theory right now, is that Magneto is going to show up. Then it's going to be Fassbender.
Ooh.
It's not going to happen. But I can hope.
I love it.
Mine's not going to happen either, but I'm sticking with the Ultron. So, it's a fun theory.
Magneto will rip that fool to shreds too.
Yeah. But Ultron is a program, and he's everywhere. And can he be killed if he's in the cloud?
Ooh.
He's in the cloud.
Kill the cloud.
He's shooting the. I don't want to say shooting, but he's creating the projectile or the projector view.
A projection.
A projection of Vision. Thank you. It's Ultron doing it.
I mean, what I'm thinking of is with like Megatron. Whenever the humans try and build Optimus Prime out of Megatron's body, they get Galvatron. It's just Megatron.
It's just Megatron. Just call him Megatron. It's fine.
He's just Megatron.
Yeah.
Dude, Ultron's controlling the Hex. Oh, Luke, I'm buying into your theory. Let's do this. Ultron's controlling the Hex. That's why there's the giant like force field thing. And basically, he's making Wanda feel like she's more powerful than she is. So she has this false sense of confidence, and he's going to go in there and wreck her life. Boom. I'm adding on Luke.
I love it. I got to always get you to sign up on my theories.
Let's see. My out there theory, maybe it's not as out there as your guys' is. It's definitely not as out there. My out there theory is going to be that during the fight, something happens and Vision is kind of
I love it.
restored.
Right there.
You know,
something happens.
The two visions become one, and Agatha, knowing that she's going to lose, takes him into the multiverse, grabs him and runs, and that's where we're setting something up there for Doctor Strange film.
So Doctor Strange is going to be trying to get Vision out of the multiverse?
Something like that. Maybe that's not his. Maybe that's not his main goal, but maybe that's the reason Scarlet Witch is tagging along.
I love a multiverse heist idea. I don't love that Vision is the prize.
We did just have a heist movie with Avengers Endgame, so maybe too soon for another one.
Time heist. This is more Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness theory, but I think Wanda is just, now that she's a full-fledged magic user, she's just going to be training Doctor Strange.
That makes sense.
Because he's pretty good at magic.
He's got that thing down pretty good.
Knows what he's doing.
Yes, he does. Well, if anyone watching this has predictions, put them in the comments below so we can read them, and we'll if there's any real good ones, we'll mention them next week, and we'll be like, you were right, or haha, you were wrong, because we'll laugh at ourselves too when we get ours wrong. So
we'll be wrong.
Yeah, we'll be super wrong.
But thank you all for watching. I'm really excited to discuss next week, and then in a couple weeks here we're going to be starting our Falcon and the Winter Soldier talks. So more Marvel.
Heck yeah.
Marvel all the time.
Mo Marvel, mo better.
It's 2021, baby. Until then, you can check out our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, and if you're looking for that link, just go to whatthefanboy.com. You can watch our live shows Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time here in the U.S. You can watch them anywhere, but 8 p.m. Central in the U.S. is the time code. Anything else? Anything I'm missing, guys? Social media? Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Whatever. Get out of here. Go watch more WandaVision videos. That's what you're here on YouTube for. So we'll see ya. Bye-bye.